Garland doesn't have a stoplight, we have a caution light, okay? Take all 4 directions, choose any one, and then you could go to the next town and you would be able to find a sewing factory. We all know that all went away.
But not here, not in Garland, North Carolina. Population a little over 600. Not here until now.
It's just something about being American.
No longer will Brooks Brothers be able to say "Made in the USA" on its iconic Oxford shirts, the pride of Garland.
We made shirts for professional peoples, athletes, such as LeBron James. We did The Great Debater with Denzel and Forrest Whitaker. We did President Obama shirts. We did President Trump shirts. A town that nobody knows about, we did big things.
In a swing state like North Carolina, will the loss of one factory in one tiny town swing any votes? Garland's been losing things for a while now. The railroad used to run through town, right on this grassy strip. This was the high school. Garland had a police department until it cost too much and was disbanded.
It's who we are.
But the town always had its shirts.
Quality begins at the needle. We were Brooks Brothers, and when you know, everybody knows Brooks Brothers, and you know it's like, it means quality. It means they're expensive shirts. You know, we used to say we can't really afford them, but we're glad a lot of people can.
A $140 shirt made by almost 200 workers.
We worked together as family, and we argued like family, and we loved like family.
It was our family away from home.
Everybody knew everybody. We were like a family.
Everybody becomes a family.
The factory was that rare place where people liked what they did, but it was also rare for what it did, making high-quality dress shirts in the United States.
It's a dying art. And to quote one of the guys from India, we're like the last of the Mohicans.
Nearly everyone else is doing it in Asia for much less. Americans are also dressing up much less. When the pandemic hit, they didn't dress up at all. Stores closed. Brooks Brothers filed for bankruptcy after 202 years. The last day for most Garland workers was in March.
You know, you were just left out there hanging, and it just was a blow.
You can only make so many blue and white shirts that people are going to buy. People aren't buying them these days. You know, I wish they were.
Brian Stevenson came here from England 20 years ago to run the cutting room.
If we go elsewhere, there ain't nobody else here to take our places.
Lose a job in an election year, and that anger could find an easy target, but not here.
I plan to vote for Trump. I think that he has done what he could. He was blamed for not acting soon enough, but when he did act, people poo-pooed him, and they're like, we don't need to do that. And then when it came down that we really did need to do it, they forgot that they said, you know, that he didn't need to do anything.
I'm still in his camp, yeah. Yeah, I have, you know, we all wish he was a little more polished. I blame the virus, I really do. He didn't cause the virus, and nobody else caused it. It was just, well, it was the virus.
For the politics, I'm not either or about that. I just believe in the Father.
The last time Sampson County went blue voting for president was 28 years ago, Bill Clinton in 1992. Ever since then, it's been red. Donald Trump got almost 58% of the vote here, the most of any Republican over those years.
America is thriving like never before. We may have right now the greatest economy in the history of our nation. And ladies and gentlemen of North Carolina, the best is yet to come.
The future, not so promising now. But it's rural areas that could still give Trump an edge here in 2020. Tom Amen teaches political science at East Carolina University. He wrote the book on North Carolina politics.
It is largely cultural. Race, religion, and style to some degree. Given a lot of the views in this area, the Republicans have simply related more to a lot of people, a lot of whites in particular. You go over, look at the blue counties in North Carolina, they'll largely be cities or university communities or places that are about 40% black or more.
The two big urban areas around Charlotte and Raleigh are growing fast, but are only about 20% of the state's population.
Although I'm calling it more purple, I would say that it is, on balance, presidentially, just a little bit more Republican still than Democratic. That is not a prediction about this year at this point. I could easily see it going either way.
Sampson County may be spread out, with its sprawling farms and small towns. But even here, there's been no escaping coronavirus, with outbreaks among workers packing produce and packaging pork, like at this Smithfield Foods plant in Clinton, the county seat. This is hog farming country. Just look for the silver roofs protecting pigs. Then watch them go by. Just off the main drag in Garland, a couple blocks away from the shirt factory, is the place people go for wood-cooked barbecue on Thursdays and Fridays.
Joining me right now, Matthew Register from Southern Smoked Barbecue in Garland, North Carolina.
Owner Matthew Register has been on national television and recently came out with a cookbook.
If it does come that Brooks Brothers doesn't come back and Garland needs to be known for barbecue, I'm okay with that.
People who worked at Brooks Brothers ate here. So did out-of-towners who went to the company store for clothes at cut-rate prices. It closed in 2018.
Normally, you would walk in here, this tent wouldn't be here. Cash register would be inside, normally being run by my mother, who is older, and since COVID has hit, has not walked in my restaurant.
It's also hit the barbecue business another way, when most of your business is catering, like weddings, graduations, banquets.
It was within basically 2 weeks that it all ended.
This is a gathering place for Garland. People are thinking lunch and maybe a little politics.
And some baked beans. Well, I'm not a Trump supporter, to be honest, so I just hope we defeat him in the election.
Why?
Because he never tells the truth, basically.
I think the virus will go away after the November election. I'm with Donald Trump. I call it the China infection, but I just think it's all political, or mostly political.
Matthew Register is weary of politics and wants more from the country's leaders.
I do think that we have got to a point where politically we can't compromise. That we can't sit down as adults and look at each other and say, you know what, we don't believe in each other's principles, but there's a guy in rural eastern North Carolina that needs our help right now. I don't care if you're going to vote for me or not. This is what I feel like is the best interest of the American people. You know, that's what I want to hear.
It's a shame. It really is. It's a functioning building that should be utilised. Should be utilised 12 months of the year. It's a shame.
Soon, that might all change. The factory has a buyer, but it won't be part of Brooks Brothers, and it likely won't make any more shirts. The workers would stay, but would make PPE, cutting and sewing masks. A factory closed by the pandemic could be saved by the pandemic. In tiny Garland, North Carolina.